Thank you for checking in and coming back to Keep It Film with me. Today, I have a very special guest who was involved in a film that I'm sure we all know, a very iconic film, The Boyz N The Hood. You know, everybody, I'm sure mostly everybody has seen this film. Um, I myself have probably seen it about 500 times, and I was just so happy when I got this guest to agree to come and keep it filmed with me on the channel. So today we have Steve. He's going to tell us exactly what his role was in the film, and exactly what his involvement was and how it was working on such a project during the era that the film came out. All right, Steve, give it to you.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Steve Nicolaides. I was the only producer on Boyz N The Hood. I was also the production manager back in the early 90s when the movie got greenlit at Columbia. I think New Jack City was probably the only black movie that had been commercially successful, and that was a gangster movie, kind of like the grandson of these gangster black movies, from Shaft to Superfly to all those other great movies. And because Boyz N The Hood was the first one, it was before Menace to Society and South Central, and you know, Spike Lee's movies were East Coast. This was West Coast. So Columbia basically said, "This is a great script. Who can we get to direct it?" And they approached John Singleton, who wrote the script when he was a student at USC.
Big fan of John as well.
Huh?
So I'm a big fan of John as well. John's as well.
Yeah, me too. You know, he's like my little son almost. You know, God rest his soul. They said to John, you know, we really love this script, and we've got some ideas for people who could direct the movie. And John said, I don't understand. You're talking to the guy who is going to direct this movie, and that's me. So they did what usually happens in corporate situations when somebody has four aces in their hand, but they don't trust him. They just cut the budget in half and say, okay, go away, come back with a great movie. So we were in Boston sightseeing. We went to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I got a call from Stephanie Elaine at Columbia, who is the wife of my oldest and dearest friend. And she said, my God, I just read the greatest script I've ever read in my life. And you got to read it. You got to do this movie. And I said, you know, I turned down Billy Crystal on City Slickers because I want this summer off. I need a break. And she said, I know, but you just got to read the script. You're just, you know. So I knew that the only way I could shut her up was to say, okay, send me the script. So she sent me the script, and it was magnificent. It was a movie that I had always dreamed about working on. In my mind, honestly, Boyz N The Hood is a lot like a Western. It's and Trey, or you know, Cuba Gooding's character is kind of like James Stewart. He's the good guy who sees bad that happens and knows he's got to stand up to it, but then realizes that by standing up to bad, to the violence, he becomes a participant in it and encourages it. And so he says, "Doughboy, stop the car! I'm getting out." And so it had a lot of connection to me. I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in 1948, so I grew up with a lot of Western movies, cowboy movies. They were if gangsters were the young boy's dream in the 30s, cowboys were the young boy's dream in the 60s. So John called me up and said, let's meet. You know, my mom lives in Pasadena, where I was living at the time, and let's talk. So we went over to Sheila's house, and we talked about it. You know, John had never done anything really. He'll say he had done a couple of videos. Music videos were the big thing in the '90s, but he hadn't really done anything.
Mm.
And we got around to, why me? And he said, because you worked on my favorite movie of all time. And I said, well, what was that? And he said, Stand By Me.
Mm.
And I said, okay, because I have an affection and an affinity for coming of age stories. And I said, you don't get it, do you, Rob? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, Boyz N The Hood is an homage to Stand By Me. Think about it. The young fat kid wears a striped shirt. The boys are all on a journey to find a dead body. Basically, Doughboy and Trey are like Chris and Gordy, best friends who are going separate paths at the end. Chris, like Doughboy, is the tragic hero who gets shot or killed. I think Chris gets stabbed and fades out. And the hero, the Jimmy Stewart character, whether it's Trey or whether it's Gordy in Stand By Me, is left to ponder what his friendship meant with these two characters and what life is about going forward. And so I said to John, okay, let's do it, and we went to Columbia. They said we're not going to spend more than $6 million. So I said, wow, okay. So I made a budget that was about 5.750. I think it was 43 days shooting, maybe 46. I don't remember now. It was all going to be on location. We built no sets. It was all going to be in South Central. And we set out to make it a black experience, a black crew. Chuck Mills was one of about 3 black cameramen I could find. Chuck had been shooting at the TV series In the Heat of the Night and in Atlanta, and I knew Chuck. So we got him together with John, and they were that was a click. Bruce Bellamy, who was the art director on the show, had been a friend of John's, I think from USC, and he had basically been a set dresser in the movie business and had never designed or art directed anything. And our goal was really to, both John and I agreed about this, that a movie that had come out maybe 6 months prior to this was Dennis Hopper's movie called Colors, which is about LAPD in the hood. And I really took offense to the way that movie looked. All the murals in South Central were perfect and beautiful and told a story. And there's no such thing as these kind of murals in the hood, man. It's like, it's tagged that you don't even understand what it is, or it's crap art, for the most part. But then began the most entertaining and most fun part of Boyz N The Hood, certainly, and probably in my experience in most movies, and that is the casting experience, because Lawrence Fishburne had played Cowboy Curtis on Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, and John Singleton had been a door guard on the stage. I think it was at Culver Studios. And so he had seen Lawrence come in and out of the stage for at least a season. And John said, I'm writing a script and you're going to be in it. And Fish would go, yeah, good, go for it, good brother, and young brother. And lo and behold, here comes the script that wins a bunch of awards at USC, and it gets to Fish, and he says, I'm in. So the first casting session, this is the honest God truth, John and Fishburne and I went to Jackie Brown's office on Sunset Strip. Are we good still?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Just relocating.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Had to relocate here.
No problem. Anyway, so we go to the casting director's office, Jackie Brown, and the first kid who comes in the door to read for Trey is, I can't remember his name now, but he's a really good young black actor who had a recurring part in Hill Street Blues. And he was good. The second actor to come in the door was a guy named Cuba Gooding Jr., and the third actor who came in the door was a guy named Morris Chestnut.
Okay.
So after Morris read, we turned to each other and we said, well, I think we got Trey and Ricky. Should we go have lunch? It was like kismet. And for Boyz N The Hood, it was nothing but that. It just, every door that we opened was perfect.
Yep.
And so we went on about our business. We set up offices down in Leimert Park, which is in southern LA. And the studio really basically had nothing to do with us during the prep. We prepped seriously. Our team was professional, and it was, the AD staff was all black. The camera staff was pretty much black. Grip and electric black, props black, wardrobe black, half of the office black. We did our honest and truly did our best to bring as many brothers and sisters into the program and into the production as we possibly could. And pretty much I would say 80% black crew. I went to the studio first and I said, I've been prepping this as a non-union movie, and I want to take it to the unions, and I want to say, I'll bring you this movie, and you'll get your probably $100,000 in pension, health, and welfare payments, and union dues, but you have to grandfather in every single person who's on my payroll right now, which ended up to be about 25 people who got into the unions who probably never would have gotten into the unions.
Wow.
And the studio said, okay, let's do it.
Wow.
And so I called the IA up and I said, look, some of my team is on the union. You and I know, we all know that you're not going to bring your white asses down to South Central and check to see if any union guys are working on the crew. So why don't we just cut to the chase, and you let this movie in as a union movie. I bring you the loot that you want, and you give me, union cards for these people. And the deal was made, and we went on to, there was a lot of great people who worked on Boyz N The Hood who have gone on to tremendous success in Hollywood. And I like to think that John and I, were there. We were the first people at the door, opening it up, saying, "Come on in, join the party." So it was great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a producer myself. I actually produce 2 different feature films at this point now. Speaking of Cuba Gooding Jr., I just worked with his brother, and he was in my last film, Leo, that I just did. And I would love to work with Cuba as well, but yeah. I know that I don't quite have that budget yet, so I'm working my way up there, slowly but surely.
You just need one piece of magic that happens in your life, and then everything changes.
Yeah, I'm super indie, so I'm on an independent level. Here in Michigan, I just look at some of the older films and the budgets that they were working with, and how they grew to be like this tremendous success is crazy. It's very crazy. So I'm an all-time fan of Boyz N The Hood. Like I said, I probably watched it like 500 times. So I actually was stalking that movie and stalking the production crew and everybody, and I just had to get a hold of you to definitely sit down and talk to you about the experience. Now, you spoke on budget a little bit. I guess, what was your experience working with, Ice Cube, Lawrence, Morris Chestnut?
And then Cube came, and John again was door guard at, I think, Paramount Studios on the Arsenio Hall show, and Ice Cube was a guest one night there, I guess when NWA came out, or maybe when Cuba's first solo came out, I'm not sure which. And John was the door guard, and he says, "I just wrote this book, and this movie, and you're going to be in it." And Cube goes, "Yeah, yeah." Everything goes on, And lo and behold, he gets the script to Cuba's people. I mean, not Cuba, Ice Cube's people, and we set up this meeting at our production office in Leimert Park, and so Cube rolls in, comes up to the office, got the script. We've got a camera guy with a video camera, me and John and Jackie Brown, the casting director, are in the room. And Jackie Brown and Ice Cube read a couple of scenes. And Cuba, and he will say this to you as well, absolutely fucking sucked. Just sucked. And
Ice Cube or Cuba?
Ice Cube. Ice Cube. Sucked. And he knew it, and he laughed. He said, "Yeah, thanks for nothing." Basically, left. John went, "Fuck," and chased him down and grabbed him and said, "You didn't read my script, did you?" And Ice Cube said, "No, man, I just been really busy." And so John said, "I'm going to give you one more chance. You read it tonight. You come back tomorrow, and we'll see what you do." So Ice Cube goes away.